trying to make it so that you guys can see Caesar's Palace behind me, but it's also making me look like I'm in the dark, so that's fun. Hi, I'm Amanda, you're watching Girly Pop Go, and I am currently still in Vegas for the Las Vegas Grand Prix for Formula One and F1 Academy, and the F1 Academy season finale. This video that you are about to see is a bunch of footage from the paddock tour that I got with McLaren, courtesy of Sega. This isn't like a sponsored affiliate post or anything like that. They actually can't ask that. They also can't require me to post any capacity. I am choosing to post. They did get me tickets for Thursday and Friday night of the GP, but that's not like in exchange for anything like that. It's simply like a gift because they are a sponsor of a Formula One team. This was all organized with McLaren through Sega. Sega is a partner of McLaren this year and next year, so hopefully can do more stuff with them in the future. But our guide for this tour was Dan. He is, I believe, their head of technology partnerships, and he was a great tour guide. Obviously, I've done paddock tours for the Las Vegas Grand Prix each year that I've been at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, but I've actually never been able to go inside the McLaren garage. And also, the McLaren garage, you are unable to film in the McLaren garage. So there is not a garage tour within this video that you are going to see on camera. I have a couple of things outside of their garage and things in the paddock itself. Obviously, that's what you're going to see. But different teams make different allowances for filming in their garages. Aston Martin is very cool with filming. I did a tour with them in 2023 during the opening ceremony night of the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and I was able to film pretty much that entire thing aside from when they were working on the car. Red Bull's a no-no, McLaren's a no-no. I think V-Carb has a little bit of leeway, but different teams have different restrictions and requirements and things like that. I will talk you through how that garage tour went after you see the paddock footage. Oh my gosh.
So this is what we call the paddock. So this is where the teams are. So garage on one side, and we kind of team hub on the right hand side. So this is always done in the order of like the championship. So we're at the front. Which is great, we're at the front of next year.
Not to flex.
Yeah,
Not to.
Yeah, you don't want to be at this end. So we like to walk past these.
Yeah.
Look at those pushes, but not too good, you know?
So this is quite a big paddock. So a lot of races are like much smaller than this. So I was in Austin, it was probably like a third of this size. So it gets quite busy.
Yeah,
it still gets quite
really
busy
narrow in Austin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a good space. They do really well.
The neon chapel. The Lego car is so fun.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's so great.
That's so cool. That was Lego's gonna be everywhere.
I know. She
did a really good job of like kind of explaining how Lego has helped women from being young girls get into being an engineer as well, outside of just sort of the driving side.
Yeah, in the car we've got quite a good program about getting females into our garage and engineering teams and stuff. So you see quite a lot of females in our garage, more than a couple of other teams.
Is it sort of like a development program where you're kind of looking specifically?
Exactly
Gosh. So are you guys all prepped for, oh, that's rain, as I was going to ask if you guys are all prepped for the rain.
Yeah, I think the team are expecting a bit of rain for sessions tomorrow. So it'll be interesting because we've done practice sessions today pretty much in the dry.
Yes.
If it's raining for qualifying, everyone's going in slightly blind. So
Yeah. Big F1 Academy session right now. Cool.
So yeah, this is our team hub. So our team hub is where we have all of our kind of staff meetings. We'll have lunch and dinner in there together. So we have set times where the engineers go in, let them eat, we go in after. They're hungry boys, most of them. So this is not way.
How many people travel with the team?
So it depends on a race by race basis. So this weekend we're probably about 120 people. So we've got like 60, 70 who are in the garage, engineers, etc. Then we have a kind of commercial team. We've got like a suite upstairs with 300 guests and their partners and stuff, which is big stuff. So anywhere between like the minimum is normally about 75, 80. Silverstone we have about 150 just because it's massive and actually it's easy for us to get to. It's an hour and a half drive from the office.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. But yeah, anywhere between kind of 70 to 150 max. But normally our team gets given, actually we could probably do, we'll have some at the back of our garage. So we get the power branding in. Thinking about it.
Yeah, whose logo do you want in the background of the footage is the question.
Yeah, all of the cars. Oh, we have some. Perfect.
Yay. Perfect.
It would be Vegas without some kind of casino activity.
Yes. Oh yeah, MGM. I think last year you guys had Caesars out here.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
They take it in turns. Highest bidder wins. I think.
Yeah.
So where are you based?
I'm in LA.
We'll go over here then. We'll go
Okay, perfect. Big MGM rewards set up. I admit I like all the sparkles they added this year. It's very fun.
Yeah. So these are tyres. We get given, every team gets given the same amount, same makeup of tyres. That's the whole paddock. So we get 40 sets per race weekend, which is 20 per driver. So every driver gets the same number of hard, medium, soft, wet, slick tyres, etc. So you see here, the ones with like the yellow outer ring, with the yellow writing, they're the medium, the reds are the soft. These ones obviously there's a tread and more for rain. You'll see here how they're marked up. So 482, 4 is Lando's number, and then 82 helps us identify that set of tyres. You can't move tyres around, you have to use them in the sets that they're given. So again, 81 for Oscar, that's 81, that's his 82 set. It just helps us kind of keep them all together. They'll be marked up so it's easy for us to know. Everyone's always surprised at the difference. Sorry. Difference in thickness between the rear and the front tyres. The rear ones are the thicker ones, the front tyres are the thinner ones. Still weigh 19 kg and those ones weigh 21 kg.
So Chambers on a quick one.
You'll see after they get
Quickest
weight,
in
get rid of
second sector.
because we can use tyres in the race or laps to actually qualify. So what we'll tend to do is tomorrow for qualifying, we'll do as many laps as we can on the quickest tyre. That's normally the softer, much better grip, only for a short period of time. Equally, during the race, you have to use 2 different tyre compounds. So you have to do a pit stop. So you can't do medium tyre and then medium tyre to finish the race. You have to do medium and soft and medium and hard. So all of the data guys will be tracking all of the data we'll have got from sessions. So we'd have run some soft, some medium. Probably won't run hard here, just isn't going to be good enough for this track. Maybe some teams will.
Guys, we're going to go into the McLaren garage, but you unfortunately do not get to come along. Top secret. So I filmed this silly little video intro before going inside the garage itself. What is that sound? So inside the McLaren garage, right on the entranceway, we first have no photography, no video, like signs posted. They have giant photos of Lando and Oscar, obviously, but right at the start, they also have all of the championships they've won, both drivers' championships and constructors' championships, as well as other championships and awards that they have won in different series posted at the entrance of the garage. Still, currently, at the time of me recording this, the latest winner for the drivers' championship from McLaren is Lewis Hamilton in 2008. As you walk into the garage, there is a big hallway, and that's where they have all of the radios with all the names located. Go inside the garage, and they let us go up onto the viewing platform. So this is where you'll see sometimes in the broadcast, you'll see family members, celebrities, what have you. They will be in this area, and it's kind of like a little cubicle. It's a little bit of a raised platform. Makes it a little easier to see on camera also, but also see into the garage, and it literally is at the back of the garage. This was actually during the F1 Academy qualifying session, so all the screens and cameras were set up for the F1 Academy session, including the broadcast feed. There was the cameras for, I think, a little bit of their pit lane. There was a live feed into the McLaren Technology Center at their offices, like where the actual tech was happening, where a lot of the strategy and data was being processed by the team back at McLaren. All the data in the strategy call, not all of that is done like just in the back of the garage. A lot of it is actually done back at the factory, back in the UK. And they told us that they send about over 1 terabyte of data per car after every single session whenever they're at a race. Like that goes back and forth. And I made a joke. I was like, no wonder you guys need Dropbox. The telemetry data and everything. And that was all for the F1 Academy cars and set up. Though they had the live feed set up for the MTC, it was not, they were not doing any data or anything for F1 Academy. They were not doing any data for Ella because obviously that's going to be Ella's team for the F1 Academy, which is a separate team. They were working on both of the cars. Obviously can't film that. I don't have any any data for you, no secrets. A few people were like, tell us about the floor. Give us some data, put us on game. And I was like, I don't have that for you. They did tell us that at the time, this was Thursday night, so this was after free practice 2 for them. They were making a little tweak to Oscar's floor, and then that was kind of it. I asked if they were going to make any tweaks based off of the grip that they had for any wing configurations or anything like that for Lando's car, because he was jerking around a little bit, and they were like, that's all tires. So that was obviously, it was a little bit of damp those sessions. At the time we were recording this, we had a very wet qualifying, and Lando is now on pole position for the race tonight. So overall, worked out well with the inters and the wets. We were able to like watch a little bit of the session. They were working on the car, so it got really loud in here. So Dan kept pausing to like let the teamwork and everything like that, and he kept saying like, okay, single file, like just in case anyone's moving around. When you are in a garage, when you are in the paddock, I say this every time, but like please be aware that everyone is working. Like I know for a lot of us it's like really exciting, we don't get to see this all the time, like we're big fans of the sport, it's very cool, but everyone in the garage does have a job to do. They are being paid, they are on a time crunch. Obviously they had the clock set up. I don't remember seeing what it was when we were in there, but I think to the end of the F1 Academy session is when they were going to be able to continue to be working. It wasn't much time, but there was still time that they were obviously working on the cars while I was in the garage. Dan talked about how regardless of how long they've been with the team or anything like that, the setups are always the same regardless of where they are, with Lando on the right and Oscar on the left when you are facing from the inside of the garage. Is that driver's preference? Is that team preference? And he's like, no, it's just kind of how it is. Like if one of them leaves, then whoever is the new driver will take that person's empty spot. They don't get to come in and be like, I want the right side or anything like that. So Lando's always on the right, Oscar's always on the left. Team stuff, a lot of things that I've definitely talked about in other series already or other videos, probably my Haas tour and things like that I've talked about previously. And was always like, okay, right behind me, single file, follow me through this way. So we went out through Oscar's side of the garage, I believe, and then moved in front of Lando's side and right in front of the pit box. Talked about a couple of things about the pit box. We're really close to the other teams, right next to Ferrari. The setup of the different garages on the pit lane is based off of the previous year's Constructors' Championships, and that's how it is for the rest of the season. So obviously, McLaren is first, and Dan is like, people think it's an advantage. It's not. Regardless of where you are in the pit lane, it is still eventually the same distance. You either have to go into your pit box and then leave, or go all the way in and then leave. Dan did say that maybe one of the real advantages is that you don't have to deal with a ton of traffic getting in and out of your pit box. He showed us obviously some of the parts. If they need be, like if they need to rebuild a whole car, they totally can, things like that. And I said at the end of the season, obviously, are you guys like running low on parts, like because of the cost gap and everything like that? Dan was like, no, we're good. Give us some time to get some photos in front of the garage. Because they were working on the car, he did ask that we stand in front of the exposed nose because the front wing was off the car, as you can see in these photos. And so I made a joke. I was like, wait, hold on, get a photo of my big coat blocking, like blocking the nose of the car. The car is naked, as I kept calling it. We could see a lot of the inner workings of the car. A lot of the covers of the car itself were off and exposing the car. So again, obviously, even if McLaren wasn't super strict about filming inside their garage, we would not have been able to film any of this because of what they were doing to the cars while we were in the garage. And that is always something to consider if you are getting a garage tour through, a paid F1 Experiences opportunity or through a sponsor. It is always dependent on what the team is working on at the time and the session. Did not see Lando or Oscar. They were both doing, I believe, rundowns of the session to go through the data before they went home back to the hotels for the night. And even when we were in the paddock after FP2, most of the drivers were already in their sessions doing roundups or even trying to get out of the track, I'm assuming, before F1 Academy did their qualifying session, which obviously I've talked about. Tours are very dependent on time, what you see, who you see, things like that. I will say overall, I feel like the paddock itself, last year I felt like there was a lot more set up and happening, whereas like different little pop-up stands and things like that, where this year it did felt very stripped down, but that has been overall the feeling for a lot of things this year. Feels like a lot of sponsors that were here last year that were like doing pop-ups and things like that are activating within the paddock or within the track and the circuit with the race. They haven't been doing that this year. Could be a bunch of different things. I've talked about in my other channel, obviously, a lot about how the economy is affecting various things in content creation. I don't doubt that it's affecting fandom and sports here, as I've talked about on the Glasses files and things like that. I'm just referencing all of my media. God, I have so many. The one thing I did wish that I asked that I didn't ask, I wish I would have been able to film from facing the pit lane itself from where we were, because I do think that would have been cool. Probably would have been a no, but I just didn't take the time to ask, because when I'm in the garage and they're like, hey, please don't film, I don't want to end up on a shit list, so I'm very on top of like, okay, we're not filming, you know. I could have probably asked. It may have been fine. It probably wouldn't have been fine. They would have been like, yeah, just film Ferrari. We were going to make another single file line through Lando's side of the garage back to the exit, and we were just going to go all the way through. We weren't going to stop again back at the viewing stand. Dan pointed out the seats. The seat was out of the car for Lando and was flipped over. I don't know if it was the actual seat or the base of the seat, like the framing that the seat goes in. Obviously there was gold on the bottom of the seat. I used gold on the seats and on parts of the car for heat insulation. So he said, quote, so if you ever hear the drivers talking about how their bum is getting hot, it's probably because there's a problem with the golding that they have used or anything like that. And I asked, how much of your cost cap is eaten up by your gold budget? And he like kind of smiled and was like, probably a lot. But that did make me curious more about like the different breakdowns of the cost cap, obviously, because we hear a lot of talk about the cost cap, and obviously the teams do have to like turn in certain information. I don't know how much of that is made public though, but I am curious because obviously gold is a, you know, fluctuating asset, and so therefore that's a fluctuating material cost for the team. And I'm so curious. God, see, now that makes me want to research things. God damn it. That's the problem with every time I feel like I go through a garage door, I have more questions. Like after my Haas tour, I was researching so much about the pit stop guns because they were telling us so much about the pit stop guns and how, oh, another thing we learned, sorry, totally blanked on this in the garage. I knew that there were cameras throughout the entirety of the garages. Okay, most garages have a ton of cameras, but I did not know that the camera right above the garage. So when you look inside the garage and you look inside like Lando's garage, Oscar's garage, Esteban, Ollie, etc., there is a camera directly above the car. Okay, pretty much all of them directly above. I just assumed that that was like the standard preferred spot for, you know, the teams to be able to monitor things. No, that's the FIA. That is the FIA's feed. That is a constant feed that they have on, and they can constantly check in on the cars that the teams are working on. And I was like, do you think someone is like sat there monitoring the McLaren camera? He was like, probably not, but they can check in at any time. And then I was joking. I was like, I mean, there's still a championship going. You guys might have a 24/7 monitor.
Depending on, you know, that's the whole point of practice, is to get all of that data.
Getting everything out of the corners.
Where did Chloe place? Is this Chloe? Where did Chloe place?
Continue.
Oh, how did she do?
I don't know. They're high-fiving. That's good. That's very good. Very cool. We just kind of went back out to the exit. Dan took our credentials. When you do a VIP tour, obviously they don't let you keep the VIP lanyard most of the time. I think if you were there for the weekend or with a team, they might let you, but oftentimes they are only given a certain amount of VIP so they can track which VIP goes to where and who is with who. And there's obviously a bunch of metadata in every single one. We do have to scan out every single time in and out that we go in. It's not the main entrance that you go through. We technically go through the back entrance when you're doing the entrance from the track. There is another entrance on, I think, the East Harmon side that is also, there is an entrance for that area from my entrance for the Koval zone. But thank you to Dan for being a good tour guide. Thank you to Sega for setting this up for me and my friend. And yeah, it was overall a very fun time. I'm always interested in seeing how different teams do different things and their different setups and stuff. How Dan mentioned a little bit while we were in the garage, how there's going to be an 11th team next year, obviously with Cadillac joining the grid, and how for tracks like this, where there's already like a ton of garage space, that they built a bunch of extra stuff for the hub. The big F1 building is permanently owned by F1. Las Vegas GP is the only race, I believe, currently on this calendar that F1 owns in its entirety, so they can do all the things that they end up doing with this race with it. Other tracks, they're not quite sure what they're going to do with extending with an 11th team. So it's going to be interesting to see next year how that all looks and shapes up. But overall, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more Girly Pop Go. And we officially have a Girly Pop Go TikTok account. So I'm going to be posting all of my motorsport stuff from the Swell Entertainment Amanda Golka TikTok over onto that one as well. If you prefer short form content and you don't like shorts, like I don't like shorts, TikTok is the option. So it's Girly Pop Go XO because someone had Girly Pop Go. You guys are going to be getting the full Las Vegas Grand Prix review as a whole. That's going to be ending up on here. So be sure to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed yourself. And I will see you guys more soon. Bye.